Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining today. We're going to talk about traveling, leaving home, and leaving your fearful dog behind. Um, we've talked a little bit recently. I think last month I did a session on finding a pet sitter or other sort of boarding or pet sitting situation for a fearful dog. And today we'll go over a little bit of that same background, and then I'll tell you about our recent experience with our fearful dog Pancake and how we arranged for him to stay at home without me and try to minimize sort of the negative aspects of that. Okay, so here's a quick overview. You're going to leave your fearful dog at home. I know you have a lot of things to worry about when you do something like that. We're going to talk briefly about what resources you can rely on or look to help you prepare to hopefully have a relatively smooth traveling experience. What behaviors might be helpful for you to train your fearful dog to do to facilitate their care while you're gone. And then we'll talk a little bit about Pancake's recent experience being left with his dad. All right, so who's in your corner? Who do you have to turn to? A trainer is always, as long as they're a good trainer, can be a great resource for this. This is something we do with our clients, and if you want to work with us remotely, we have a link at the end of this presentation, so you can check out our private training services. But a good trainer should be able to help you assess, what do you need? What kind of training plans do you need? Help coach you through those training plans so they actually get implemented and you reach your goals. A trainer, especially a local trainer to you, may have some good pet sitter referrals or other options. And they can coach introductions to pet sitters if you decide to go that route. Now, your vet or a vet behaviorist can also be of great help if you've got a really fearful dog and you're going to change their routine substantially by leaving them, either with family or whatever, with a pet sitter. Extra situational medications might help quite a bit. And then, although today we are talking about leaving a fearful dog with family, just a reminder that there are other options. You need to decide whether or not your fearful pup will be more likely comfortable staying at home. A lot of dogs will be. That's their familiar environment. But every so often, you've got a dog who does better with strangers when they're not at home. So you've got family members. They could come to your home, or possibly your dog could stay at their home. Pet sitters, same thing, could come over, or a pet sitter could host your dog. There are also boarding kennels or veterinary clinics that offer boarding that might be options. These are tough for a lot of fearful dogs, taking them to a boarding kennel. But this is all stuff that should be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. So your dog should be evaluated by you and your trainer and maybe your vet to figure out what the best option is going to be. If you're looking for sitters, not for family members, you can always look to your friends or extended family, potentially as sources of pet sitters. Your local positive reinforcement trainers may have suggestions. If you have friends that have fearful or reactive dogs, they've probably already gone through this process and may have some suggestions, although people who have found a good sitter who can deal with their more special needs dog will sometimes guard them jealously. Local dog groups may have suggestions, although they may not be specialized to fearful dogs. And then the Fear Free directory now has pet sitters listed as well. Okay, so training. I'm going to show you a little bit about what Pancake worked on for his time with my husband. But there usually, or there often are, a small number of behaviors that will help whoever you're leaving your dog with take care of them without getting too hands-on. A lot of these fearful dogs don't really want to be touched a lot or handled by someone other than you or whoever their person is. So things like crate training and go to crate on cue, go to a place like a mat and stay on a mat, go out to the yard and come back in, um, potentially tolerate leashing and harnessing, although this is something you can often skip if it's not strictly necessary for the dog to go on walks. And both the dog and the caretaker can be trained on using treat tosses or scatters to move the dog around in a way that doesn't require them to touch the dog. Okay, so how did Pancake survive my vacation? um, Last month, I went to visit family, and Pancake is a special case, but many of you have a similar special case at home, I know. He does suffer from separation anxiety, and that separation anxiety is specific to me. So leaving him home just with someone isn't good enough. So we knew this was going to be a pretty stressful experience for him, no matter what. He is still fearful of my husband in certain contexts, and he was going to be the caretaker. So that's another challenge. This is not the first time I've left him with my husband, and in the past, he has kind of shut down for at least part of my absence and just hid in the bedroom, wasn't willing to go outside to potty or anything. So we knew this could happen again. On top of this, this was the longest absence that I'd had from him so far. I was going to be gone for 8 days. And he was staying at home with my husband, who, while he has some experience caring for Pancake, their relationship is not the closest, let's say. Pancake is still not 100% trusting of him. So what did we do? We knew this was, no matter what, this was not going to be a perfect, wonderful experience for Pancake, but what could we do to make it as positive as possible, given that I'm not willing to go for the rest of Pancake's life without visiting my family. So we have to find some kind of accommodation here. All right, first thing we looked at is medications. He is on several anti-anxiety medications. So we consulted with our veterinary behaviorist and our primary care vet. We planned to do a standard increase in 2 of his medications. So we were just going to go ahead and increase doses of both of those every day while I was gone. And if that didn't hack it, we had a third medication that we could increase if needed. So we had a plan and a little bit of a backup plan in terms of medications. Then we looked at, okay, what skills does Pancake need and does my husband need to try to make this possible, at least his basic care? So what behaviors did he need? We needed, not 100% strictly, but it would be really nice if Pancake would go outside to go to the bathroom. Also, going into his sleeping area in the bedroom was another helpful behavior. Going into the crate was pretty important, partly because we use the crate for Pancake sometimes to separate our 3 dogs when they're eating or have high value chews or something. But also, heaven forbid, Pancake had to go to the vet while I was gone. There is no way my husband could pick him up to put him in a car. So he would have to be in a crate. Luckily, these are all behaviors that Pancake already knew and could do, at least for me. And we'd been practicing on and off with my husband for a while. So the week or 2 before I left, we said, okay, let's refresh our work on these. And my husband practiced getting Pancake to go outside, go into his pen, go into his crate. And for him, we have him doing the absolute easiest versions of these behaviors. So for me, I might use a verbal cue for Pancake, and I might stand far from the crate, say, or right next to it. I have more options. For my husband, it was like, we're going to use a food lure, just toss his treat or toss his Kong where you want him to go, and then back off a little so he has space and doesn't have to pass so close to you to go outside or to go into his crate. And before I left, I was able to observe Pancake doing all of these behaviors for my husband for food lures. So that was a good sign. Next, have to prep the house to make it as easy as possible for the caretaker to do what they need to do. Number one, if you want the caretaker to be using treats to move the dog around, you need to have those easily available in the locations they'll be needed. So, we have food by the back door, so my husband can just toss treats out the back door for him to go out, Pancake to follow those out to go to use the bathroom. Some by the pen and also the crate, so that you don't want the caretaker to have to rummage around to find the treats to do what they need to do. They should be easily available. With as many medications as Pancake is on, and really anytime you have a caretaker giving your dog meds, it's really helpful for them to be all laid out ahead of time. So we have a rather extensive pill box for Pancake, and those were all filled and ready for my husband to use with the increased doses that we were going to try for this absence. All the food toys were stuffed and in the freezer before I left, so that my husband had very easy options for feeding all the dogs. And this is optional, but I made sure that we had our Nest cams arranged in the house so that I could check on how Pancake was doing and give my husband suggestions after sort of observing firsthand what the problem was, or directly, rather than relying on his description of what was going on. All right, so now we've got meds ready, we've got some behaviors trained, we've got the house prepped. What's the next step before I can leave? Plan for everything to go wrong and make sure we have backup plans for when things go wrong. When you've got a dog with special needs who's fearful, there's a pretty good chance that not everything is going to go according to plan exactly. So we relied on some of our past experiences to think about what was likely to go wrong when I left. We said, okay, even though he's going out for my husband right now, when I'm home, Barrett can toss a treat out the door, Pancake goes outside. What if when I leave, he won't do it? What if he just won't go outside? Well, we have quite a stock of potty pads, washable and disposable. And so he said, okay, well, if when I leave, he won't leave the house, he won't go outside, you're going to put potty pads where? In the places that in the past he was trained to use them. As well as close to wherever he's spending his time. Another potential problem that has happened in the past is say, okay, well, what if he won't even leave the bedroom? Not only will he not leave the house, like go into the backyard to pee, what if he won't leave the bedroom at all? All right, well, he's got a sleeping pen in there. You can put potty pads in the pen. You can even put potty pads elsewhere in the bedroom, and then you can sleep in the guest room if you need to. If that needs to be Pancake's room for the duration while I'm gone, he can get his food in there, he can get his meds in there, he can have all his needs met if that is necessary in this one room. All right, and then finally, we said, all right, we think we've done everything we can to prepare. Fingers crossed, let's monitor, and we'll modify as needed. So how did it go? The first day, and this has become a pattern now, I think I've left Pancake with my husband 3 times now, and the first day is always not great. Pancake is very anxious, he hides, he doesn't want to eat, he doesn't want to go outside. So that first day, we fell back on that backup plan and said, okay, he doesn't want to leave the bedroom, that's fine, just give him everything he needs in the bedroom for now. Let's focus on getting his meds into him. If we need to, we'll increase those and see if he'll adjust after I'm gone just a little bit. And did he? Finally, he did. I think the evening of the first day or the second day, he did start to adjust. He took his meds. He started to come out of the bedroom. He would go outside, but interestingly, even though when I was home, he would follow a food lure out the back door for my husband. Now, when I wasn't home, he wouldn't do it. So my husband came up with a modification, which I asked him to reenact for me here. Basically, what would happen is my husband would stand at the back door and toss a treat out. But Pancake wasn't willing to walk past him. And then if he tried to move away from the back door, Pancake would just run back to the bedroom and hide and wouldn't come back. So it wasn't just that he could, leave the back door open and walk away. Pancake would just be like, nope, I'm not going anywhere near that. So here's what he ended up doing. I shot a short video of this. So here's Pancake. And by the way, you look at him and he does not look that afraid of my husband in these clips. But everything is harder for him when I'm not home. So here I'm home, I'm taking this video. So here my husband has food, Pancake's all excited. So he went out with him, ahead of him, tossed food away from him, and then he did a loop around the hot tub to go back inside. He found that if he just turned around where he was and walked back inside, Pancake would sprint back in front of him as if he were afraid of being locked out. So doing this loop away from the back door and then back in allowed him to get back inside, close the door, give Pancake enough time outside so he would pee and stuff before coming back in. And coming back in was at least never a problem. It was just going out. All right, so we started going outside to pee, which was helpful. Since my husband's, his favorite activity does not include cleaning up potty pads in the house. And believe it or not, after the first day, and this was the first time, this is our third time I've left him, the first time where he has started to stay out of the bedroom after that first day and actually kind of hang out, quote unquote, like a normal dog. So a couple of pictures my husband sent me while I was traveling. And he even sat on the sofa with Barrett a couple times while I was gone, which I was blown away by. So here's a photo of the typical, after that first day, the typical arrangement. Juno is kind of Pancake's support dog when I'm not around. So he was snoozing on the sofa here next to Juno, our older girl. Here's a photo that my husband took through the window of Pancake sunbathing with Jasper out on the back porch. So this helped me to, and I know if you got a fearful dog and you leave, it can be hard to relax and enjoy being away because you're worried about how they're doing. So this really helped me to feel better too, to be like, okay, I know he'd rather I be home, but look, he's able to relax and enjoy his time here. So I hope this kind of gives you a window into what can help and also a little bit about expectations. I knew this was going to be hard on both Pancake and my husband, at least for the first day, because that's what we've seen in past absences. But he is slowly improving. Every time we're making adjustments, we're ready for things to go badly sometimes. And we have found that if we're ready and have things prepared, so okay, he's too scared to leave the room, that's not the end of the world. He's been able to adjust and continue to be more comfortable with my husband when I'm not home, which is a pretty big deal, right? It's a pretty big quality of life thing for you if you feel like you can't leave. And so for me, this was a big win, even though it was stressful. And even though that first day I was really worried about Pancake and felt bad for leaving him. In the end, getting pictures of him snoozing away and occasionally following my husband around begging for treats and stuff was good. All right. So as a reminder, you can find more free stuff, as always, on our blog, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. If you have a situation like Pancakes, where you have a dog where you're not sure how you can leave them, this is something I really recommend private training for, where we would work together to figure out the situation that will work for your dog. It's so individualized that it's really hard to give any kind of blanket recommendation. So you can see what we did for Pancake, but what we did for Pancake may be not useful at all for your dog. Someone asked, what are your suggestions for a dog that won't eat if their person is away? So that would be, I can't give obviously there is no sort of one suggestion for any particular problem, but I would do the same kind of analysis. I would start with the same kind of assessment I would for any of our client dogs. Let's talk to the vet. Are there medications? Are there any potential health issues affecting appetite? Are there medications we can try? Is there training to eat? With the person at different, absent or different parts of the house or in the presence of other people, that we can actually write a training plan for getting the dog to eat. For Pancake, it wasn't super organized because my husband had to kind of figure something out on the fly, but Pancake wouldn't take his meds in his regular way, at least the first day while I was gone. And so my husband had to do quite a bit of experimentation to find something that he would reliably eat to take his meds. So there's stuff you can do for sure. Like, you first have to figure out, is the dog not eating? We think they're not eating because of anxiety, in which case anti-anxiety medication may be a big component of fixing the problem. Or is there something else going on? And either way, if it's health-wise, and if it's a health problem, then you would, need to work with a veterinarian on that. If it's anxiety, medication may help, but you may also still have to work out what is essentially a training plan to get the dog to eat in the presence of people who are not, their person, or or just alone in a room, something like that. But yeah, I know that's tough. Pancake temporarily has some sort of anorexia as well when I'm gone. And this is something that we have had to work around a bit. His Pancake's particular weakness happens to be mini quesadillas that my husband makes for him. He actually cuts up little tiny pieces of tortilla and melts cheese between them, and then puts the pills in to the tiny tortillas, which are tiny quesadillas. Because what's good enough for what Pancake will eat when I'm here, like I just use pill pockets right now for his pills. He won't eat those for my husband. He's too anxious. So we have to make it better. All right. If there are any other questions, please do post them under the video where you're watching them. I'm going to sign off, but I'll get them. I'll get a notification if you ask a question later. If you want to share your own stories of, finding ways to leave your dog with someone, with a family member, if they're just attached to you, I'm sure others would appreciate hearing it. Just keep in mind that most likely, through trial and error, you may be able to work something out on your own. But if you can't, if you're really struggling, the best thing to do would be to work with a trainer who specializes in these issues and can help you help guide you to find the best solution for your dog. All right, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope that you are able to take a vacation or travel somewhere in the near future. And like I said, if you think you need one-on-one help, reach out to us. This is something we spend a lot of time thinking about. All right, folks, I will see you next week.